I go by the name of Usia Kareye. I'm a student teacher of the master teacher. You've seen various other student teachers teaching this class on every Saturday. We urge those who are interested to, send it out there, post it out there for others to give them opportunity also to come and hear this wonderful divine news from our ancestors brought by way of none other than Pa Nabab Yanun, the master of heaven and earth. Okay? Submitting a few people in. This is a opportunity for you to ask me as a student teacher, okay, with supporting student teachers, questions, because it's your questions, because your soul is the one that matters, okay? And as we know, OSM is the platform we've used, okay, to push this information out there, propagating on the streets, several brothers and sisters around the world pushing this information, stores pushing this information. Why? Because it's very important in this day and time for us to know who we are, where we are going, okay, and how to connect back with natural nature and the forces of nature that work for us, okay, and upliftment of humanity. So if you're about that, and if you want to see this being a success for your future generations, your children, because ultimately it's about them, it's the children that will fight in this war and mental battle known as 9 ether versus 6 ether, okay? The science of spirituality is known as Nwapu. Okay, it's the science of sound right reasoning. And the science of sound right reasoning means that you apply your highest form of reasoning, your mental faculty. And that mental faculty is being able to discern the truth from falsehood. Being able to govern yourself in a natural way so that you can live the true embodiment of who you truly are, which is a soul being. Okay. So we have these classes which were set up by the master teacher many, many years ago, over 50 years, written so many books, okay, to take us through the degrees of different religions and other things that we've been afflicted with and misinformed by, and give us the clarity. Okay, so I'm not going to continue going on and on. If you have any questions, there's a question and answer forum. This is your chance. The platform's open for you. So please feel free to ask your questions. Any questions you want. Don't go silent on me now. Anybody with their hands up? Any questions in any chat rooms? It seems like okay.
Rahubat Sama.
Rahubat Linkin Kuna. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yes, you did.
Okay, okay. Rahubat Samata.
From Akasha Records,
Tua.
verse 42 to 46.
Okay. Do you want me to bring it up, or you're gonna read it, and then we'll all.
So if you can bring it up, please. My computer's just loading. We had to come
Oh,
outside
okay,
and
right.
just come back now.
Let me see if I can share the screen. Just have to bring up myself now. Hold on a second. Let's see if I get. All right, where are you? Where's my drive gone? There you go. So it feels like we're both having the same kind of thing here. My one's not playing ball either. It must be the cold weather.
I can read
Oh,
it.
you got it, yeah? Oh, okay, Zamata. Yeah, if you got it, yeah, tell it that. And I'll pull it up,
Okay,
yeah.
it's verse 42, Samata Linky.
Verse 42 to 46.
Sure. And his son Ningazida Nakash Panas was who came and spoke to Titi, Kawa, Eve in the garden, and taught her the arts of the red mead stone. And she partook of the poppy seed and drank of the elixir of extended life from his own body fluids. Pa Mufkuzat, the elixir of extended life, the most misunderstood story in their Bible and Quran. The deities lived much longer than the humanoids of the Muadamu Adamite seeds. So, to drink of his elixir of life or tree of life, she would extend her life and hail live much longer than just the 120 years promised. Genesis 6:3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. 44. In fact, because she partook of Ningazida's elixir and gave to Adam by her body fluids the first kiss exchange of saliva in the mouth, so he also partook of it. Did he did not die at age 120, Genesis 6:3. You see that he lived, Genesis 5:5. He lived 930 years, and Titi lived to 1,000 years. 45. Right down to Zeustra, Noah, who lived 950 years, and his wife Emzara lived to 1,000 years. 46. Then once they departed, Taha, earth, was separated from the Anunnaki. Their Zazatu women weakened, and because she passed this Mafkuzet liquid gold to her newborn by breastfeeding for 2 years, and thus their men weakened, being they get it from her, Sadaitui, breast, fluids, so their ages upon Mawat death dropped.
Okay. So, Linky, what's your question in relation to that?
So then there's the cycles, verse 27, which I have here because I've got the copy. And it says, as note, Geb was seduced by Zahuti by the powers of the Mistons. In fact, the red Mistone of lust. So I wanted to ask, if is there a relationship between the two verses? If so, what is it? And
Oh, okay.
also, why did Zahuti seduce both women with the red millstones? Because with Eve, he then gave her extended life more than the 120 years allotted. So why did he do it? Why did he seduce both women? For Geb, it was not clear as to why he did it.
Right. Pause there. Okay. So yeah, I understand. Right. One thing that what partner Bab Yanun was doing was he was showing us the parallels in the sense of when you're saying Geb in our ancient culture would have been the first Adam. So he was slowly introducing us to the names of our ancestors because the stories of our ancestors were in parallel or copied, some elements of it were copied from and became your Genesis stories. Are you following so far?
Yes, yes, sure.
So Geb is symbolic or represents the earth. And as you know, in Genesis, Adam means the earth. Okay, so and Nut or Nutat would have been the seed. So in our ancient culture, the seed or the life-giving force is in the seed of the female. Yeah, and she carrying the mitochondria and she carrying the elixir of life as a form of mafkuzat was in there. the stories that are written about Geb, Nut, Asaru, etc., some of these were copied into your Genesis story, and some of it are elements of what took place as well. So what Partner Babi Yanun was doing is he was slowly elevating us to the different deities or ancestors that also existed, and moving us out of the Genesis story into the Egyptian Tamaraean stories. That's why he will use. That's why he will use Geb and Nut interchangeably with Adam and Eve. Do you see what I'm saying? Because because in our culture, Adam and Eve would have been Geb and Nut. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's the equivalent. So the story did take place with Ningizida in the Sumerian or the Akkadian story of Ningizida marrying, or sorry, taking Eve or Nakibu, okay, and then having intercourse with her. Rahubat, greetings, my brother. Rahubat, greetings. Yeah, taking Nakibu and having intercourse with her and showing her those powers, sorry, those Kama Sutra, or what became Kama Sutra, the powers of sex. And the red me stone was actually like a 4D screen of showing certain sexual positions, etc., which then Eve learned and performed it on him. Now, in the performing of onto Ningizida, she received his mafkuzat.
He said, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So the parallels is in the names of Nut and Geb, but they wasn't Ningizida doing two different things. It was that Nut and Geb represent in our culture the Adam and Eve. So he was given a parallel. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's clear.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Any more than that? Any more further to probe?
Yeah, two are. So with the mixing
Tua.
and Eve getting or Titi getting the Mafkuzet,
Yeah.
which extended her life,
Tua.
and we know that telomeres are what's responsible for your time. What is it that's happening through the Mafkuzet which is extending
Okay.
your life?
Okay. So this, you know the verse before we go on. It was it Akasha Records that was being read from, wasn't it?
Sure.
Could you just give me the page number, please?
7.
Page 7, right? Okay, just go back up. Page 7. Okay, so what's taking place is that Mafkuzat is actually a combination of, if I'm correct, 7 elements on the periodic table. Yeah, so if you refer back to, I'm going to try and pull up Mafkuzat. Have I got it here with me? No, I don't. Do we have it upstairs, Amalta? If not, I'll pull it up.
No, it's not.
Okay, let me just pull it up. Sure, this mouse is... Right, so let me just put Mafkuzat. Let me share this screen. Okay. So, share. Let me turn this on. I'm still here. I haven't left. I'm still here. Just Right, can you see my screen soon coming up?
So it's loading.
Okay, fantastic. Right, so okay, so when you're seeing on here, you're seeing how many elements do you see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Okay, and it refers to these elements as the monoatomic elements. So just share. Why isn't it showing up on here? I wanted to show on here so you can see as well for the audience in the class. Should not showing on the screen. Jamal, could you switch that on for us? Yeah, he's just going to switch on the projector. Okay, so, right, without any further, so on the monatomic elements, you have these elements that can be converted into what we know as mafkuzat. Are you following, Zamata? Okay, so once these elements have become in a monoatomic state, what happens is they have certain abilities and certain properties. And one of those properties is that he has the ability to rebuild DNA. Is it the top one? There should be a button at the top, or should it say on? Is it plugged in? Okay. Not to worry. I was trying to show the screen for the class, people in class. So let me just read from Mafkuzat. Okay, so what it says here is that the planet Earth, this is from The Secret of Tones and the Mafkuzat, Elixir of Life. So Nuwapians, children of the overseers of Orion and Sirius. Verse 2, provided for you, Kharadu Empa Muntaru, children of the overseers, on this Mikab Taha, planet Earth, is it coming on? No. Okay. The monoatomic elements, all 8 being transition metals. Transitional metals are metals that can transmit, tell you what, let's see if I can turn this here that way. Can you see that? Yeah. Transitional elements are metals that can transit bayan between different states, from metallic to monoatomic or one atom. Mono, one atomic of relating to atoms. Number 4, a single atom no longer having normal metallic characteristics, yet Hasut now possesses superconductive capabilities and chemically inert enough to be ingested. Yeah, and this is the key point, to repair your DNA. So we know that on the DNA, on the chromosomes of the DNA, you have these replicating elements, okay, known as the telomeres. So these telomeres, they replicate, but what monatomic chemical has the ability to do, the mafkuzat, is that it rebuilds them to a very high superconductive state. Okay, that's what takes place. Okay, I'm going to jump to something in a minute as well. So I'm going to read what these elements actually do. So when you go to verse, here you go. Yeah, this mafkuzat, liquid gold, this is what Eve ingested from Ningizida, who had it in him, will take you to a mystic state of akal, mind, and khatat, body, where you meet with Pa Muntaru, the overseers, and ghayur transform as one of them. As you know, you have red wine, red daman blood, and white wine, white blood, or matao, semen. The female, she purifies her body with a aha dawa cycle from ovulation to menstruation. Red blood cells mixed with white blood as dead cells, and upon reactivation, she'll retain her nabat, pure gold power, because of her aha dawa moon cycle, as long as she keeps her daman blood pure. So I'm going to just jump to, right. Now let's look at these, verse 42. Now let's look at these monoatomic elements in depth. All platinum group metals, with the exception of nabat, gold, and silver. Ruthenium affects Hammam, human DNA, resonating, and Hazels, vibrating with it. Verse 44, a single ruthenium zarat atom placed at each end of a short strand of DNA would dismantle the short length helix and rebuild it correctly. And that strand of DNA becomes 10,000 times more conductive, a superconductor. In turn, this double helix creates a highly conductive path along the axis of the molecule. Second element, platinum. Platinum compounds interact with the DNA and the cellular body as well as ruthenium by stimulating healthy tissue regeneration of the endocrine system, the thymus and abab heart tissue. Platinum also stimulates tissue regeneration neurologically, thus promoting increased akal mental perception, concentration, zakari, memory, creativity, and overall focus. Element rhodium and iridium assist the khatat body, very similarly clarifying and strengthening the damag brain, assisting with zakari, memory, recall, vividness of dreams, and optimal performance of the neural circuitry. Both rhodium and iridium are complementary to the central nervous system, with rhodium assisting with muhmam, human photosynthesis, receiving nutrients from the shamash sun, and iridium assisting below the damag brainstem. Palladium increases the distribution of oxygen, facilitating good circulation, and it does an najab excellent job of containing harmful oxidants and removing them from the body. It repairs the liver and kidneys and increases shaye, stomach acids, and enzymes, promoting healthy digestion. Osmium assists in the eradication of arthritis. Silver is one of the most powerful natural antibiotics with its astonishing ability to katul, kill disease-causing bacteria. Nabat gold Au, a powerful electrical conductor, and when in effect, it ghayura transforms one mortal into a nataru, overseers, into an extraordinary level. An overall immune booster, gold promotes super anti-aging properties, strengthens the abab heart, pituitary, pineal, and thymus glands, promotes cell regeneration, and activates the endocrinal glandular system in a way that heightens awareness, perception, and aptitude. So now you can see the reason why we had it in our blood as Nataru, as children of the Nataru. And this is why Eve inherited it. So when you talk about, like, for instance, it says, and the days of Adam lived such and such a long time, or I think it was Enoch's father lived, Methuselah lived 1,000 and etc. years, is because they in their blood had it at one time, this particular element. But as time went on and as mixture took place, we and those other people on the planet who did have it started to lose it. And eventually we started living like the Adamites up to 120 years of life. But essentially we could live longer. So I hope that answers that question for you, Zamalta.
Two Azamas.
Okay. I've got a question. I think you got a question? Yeah. Okay, there's a question in class and then, or, yes, please, yeah.
So I think I missed a little bit of that.
Okay.
In regards to the element you're talking about, so that's all of the elements from the periodic table added up.
No, those are the transition metals on the periodic table.
Okay.
So they consist of palladium, platinum, gold, etc. These are known as transitional metals because they have the ability to actually transform. And when you heat them to a very high state, they actually become monatomic, which is just a single element, a mono element. Okay, but they're so light that they can actually diffuse into the ethers. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, they can become a white powdery state. And when it's a powdery state, it can be ingested in that form, or it can also be ingested by way of sexual intercourse, because the female receives it and it builds up her telomeres. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what happened with Ningizida. Ningizida had it in his DNA. And what he was able to do when he had sexual intercourse with Nakibu or Eve, she then received that and was able to pass on to her children. Women still have it today in some form by way of her breast milk. When she breastfeeds, especially of our African origin, yeah, that we actually pass it through the breast milk. They call it colostrum. So when a child is born, that little thimble of milk that a baby gets, it has all the nutrients, the properties, the antibodies, all of that in that little thimble of milk that the child receives.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that it's carried from the mother, and then the baby might get it when they're breastfed.
That's right.
So if it's a boy who's being breastfed by their mum and they get the thingy, how can a man basically get this element and pass it on? Or it's just...
It's part of it. Becomes a part of your DNA. Anything that you ingest becomes a part of your DNA. You see what I'm saying? Because it builds it.
And is there a way for us to build it so much that we can get back to that state where we live? And I'd imagine that has something to do with getting yourself up to the highest ether you can and sorting out your health in regards to the gut health, the microbiome and all that stuff, and
all of that.
Just
all
basically
perfect your being.
Completing this, perfect your being and perfect your being in this, not element, sorry, in this physical dimension that we're in right now.
Exactly. And some aspects of that is this mafkhuzat is not something that you can just go around getting. Do you see what I'm saying? Is something that has to be done in a particular way. And the being that's to do that will be the master teacher. You can activate your partner she can activate you. Do you understand?
I'd assume my partner would have to be a Sabian woman.
Not necessarily a Sabian woman, but if she's working her way towards that, it's beneficial to both of you.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah? Okay, Zamata, you had a question, I believe?
Sure, Zamata. I was just thinking because it used to, I think, at one point it was being said that, the different families in the Bible that lived 900 years or 700 years was based on the actual tribe or that family.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's still part of it. That's still part of it. And so you used to say like Adam lived 100. That would be the tribe Adam. Yeah. And the tribe Enoch or the tribe Enos, etc. That was still that, but also the actual individual also lived to that age too, because of the fact that they had that mathkozat in them.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Any questions on anything else? It's your opportunity, like I said, to ask your questions, whatever's on your mind.
I know that the music plays a massive part in like lowering your etheric energy and all that stuff. But I was wondering if you're aware, well, the question was, is it possible to fight, endure, withstand your frequency from dropping when listening to low vibrational music?
Is there, did you say?
Yeah, is there a way to stop it from happening? If you're like, you see the way what I'm looking at right now, I'm seeing Dr. Malachi Z. York with the green thing around him. If I have in my headphones and I'm listening to that low vibrational music, and I know how to put the green thing around me to
the green aura, and it's like it's counterproductive, isn't it?
Somewhat.
Yeah. It's counterproductive because essentially we should be moving towards natural music anyway. Yeah. To what's the word? To remove those energies that's around you once you've absorbed them is by way of the chanting, the language, etc. You with me? It will always affect you. Why? Because you're a melanated being. You're a child of the sun. You're a being that processes light and sound. So no matter what you do, you're going to absorb it. But it's the ability to degauss it, remove it out of your system. You understand? So it's not about enveloping yourself in the green aura and then listening to it, because that's counterintuitive, to your actual development. But there are ways where if you are around that environment and then you go home and then you burn your sage, you do your rituals, etc., you can then, how can I say, what's the word? Exercise it out of you. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
And another one in regards to music, the tones that are supposed to be for us as Nagaru, it wasn't A, B, and C, was it?
The tones.
The tones of the music that
No,
actually...
no. It's F. F is for the sound nature, or the planet.
Yeah.
Then you have A.
F, A, and A is
and then
for...
C. A is for the body.
Okay.
Yeah. So that aligns you with what that is doing when you're doing that chants, etc. You're actually your body is like a conductor. Yeah. So it actually conducts that information. You become like a capacitor. You store it. Your cells actually store this. Okay, what's taking place? As you chanting in that tone or speaking in that tone, there's elements around you, natural etheric forces, okay? And you act like a magnet and you actually draw it into your being. And as you draw into you through your aura, because remember, what you have to visualize or imagine is that you're not just physical. There's an electrical field around you known as your aura, this biofield of energy. And these electrical currents are drawn into the body, and then what happens is it gets assimilated into the cells of your body. And then the cells of your body harness that energy to heal itself. Yeah, and that's what's taking place. So it's very important to know the right tones, and that's why we get sick, etc., because we're not on our natural vibration. You understand? Yeah, but so the C after the A is the C, and the C is the cosmos. So as you're now conducting yourself and you're becoming a capacitor, and you're also vibrating on the frequency of the C note, you're now getting information from the universe. You're now drawing also information through your brain synapses, okay? And it's being then converted into signals and images in your mind's eye. And then that becomes who you are, do you see what I'm saying? And your messages are from your ancestors, and the universe can be spoken to you. Yeah?
And so, with that being said now, say someone's singing, because recently I've tried to cut out all the electronic music and just listening to a cappella most of the time, specifically South African choirs.
Okay.
I don't know what it is they're saying, but I know it feels like it's touching my spirit to a certain extent, and it feels good, like I'm supposed to be listening to it for a certain extent.
Okay.
And if I don't know what tone they're singing in, say they're singing in a different tone, or I don't know what they're saying because I don't understand the language, how can that really affect me negatively if I don't understand the language? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's gibberish. So if they're saying like a madness in their songs, but I can't understand it, can that have a negative effect on my being? Because I know...
What you can do, you can get, there's a frequency tone like a guitar where it measures the certain tones and vibration. But you can actually get a metronome. It's like it reads the different signals.
I see.
You with me?
Yeah.
And what I've tended to do is when I'm listening to a cappella or instrumental music from Mali or natural instruments, I'll play that tone and let that pick it up. And then when it picks it up, you see the range of notes that's coming from it.
Okay.
You understand? And then you can kind of like see what's the natural and but all really on the scale of music, majority of it is basically it's called a diatonic or 5 tones. and mainly they normally C, D, F. Do you know what I mean? G. They're not really far from, you know what I mean, your actual natural tones, especially when you go into African music. Yeah, because African music deals with, it's called a 5 diatonic tone. Yeah, I'm not much of a music person. If Saken was teaching, then he'll be able to break it a bit further down. But you can study this. It's not something that's not hard to study. And you know, like when I did my research, like you got certain, for instance, what they call Afrobeats. Afrobeats use a particular beat note, which you can actually look into, and it has that diatonic scale. You understand? So it's all about doing your own due diligence, you know. And even though the African choir music resonates with you, just look into the notes.
Yeah.
That is a meeting, and that's probably why, you know.
And am I correct in saying, I know Saken's not here, but I think I heard him mention once that lower tones for us as Nagario would be better for us.
Yeah, low, bassy,
Yeah,
lower.
bassy
That's right.
in regards to the singing as well.
But
rather
don't
than,
think of it as low as in, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah.
So that deep voice.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
The drum, because you know the drum is our signature. Do you know what I mean? And once you have the drum, that's like the foundation.
The bass.
The music of our music is the drum and the bass. So once you have that, which obviously now is being synthesized because
The 808s.
yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, it's the drum. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I guess so, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, feel free, seriously. Any other questions online, on Clubhouse, Zoom? You know?
Linky's got a hand up.
Wawe. Rahubat Linky, please fire away with your question.
I've been answering all the questions in the chat, so
Okay.
don't worry about it.
Oh, Wawe. Okay. So Linky, go ahead.
Yes. I wanted to ask, I was reading, what is that? Alalu.
Alelu and the throne. Yeah.
Yes. So, what I want to ask really is based around verses 145 to 148.
Okay.
Let me see. I think I have it. Okay, here. Maybe I'll start from 143.
Go ahead.
To make it more sense. So 143, if my younger brother's words are all true, then why is Alalu and family and devotees safe and secure on the planet in order to broadcast this signal and message to so clearly from there? I did not hear signs of distress in his voice, only confidence, strength, and certainty. 144. By these words, a great argument ensued. 145. Voices were raised, fingers being pointed, chaos from both sides. Yahweh, Nodimut, and then Dingir, and then Baal, Nodemnir, Igigi, which are cherubim, and the Dingir are seraphim. And only the sister Nemach could quiet the chaos. She says, before all, as we can see, and now Alalu demands create a great deal of consternation amongst you all. We cannot dispose of our father An, Elion El, or Anu without knowing if what Alalu is saying is true. So what I wanted to say, it just made me think like, do all male beings, regardless of whether it's in this planet Earth or anywhere else, have the XY chromosomes, meaning are they, because women have the XX, so they are like a full-on, there's a proper wording for it, I can't remember which scroll I read it. So is that why they were, because she was the voice of reason. So I wanted to know if males, regardless of where they are, if they have the XY chromosomes, or is it different?
It's configuration wise, it will be different, but not necessarily that is different in because the there's even number of chromosomes. That's how you can be able to, let's just say, create another clone of yourself. It has to be in pairs, and it has to be an even number. But in a sense of X, Y, X, for instance, or Y, X, Y, the Anunnaki, they have the ability to change their molecular structure because you see, the Anunnaki, they can, they are shapeshifters. So they can actually incarnate on the planet and take on any form they want. So they can come as a Nagaru, they can come as a Mukasu, they can come as, do you know what I mean, any form that they choose to, because they've mastered that ability. Do you understand? And in mastering that ability, they can take on the chromosome that pertains to this planet. And whether it's a male or female, they have the ability to do that. So it's all about shape shifting and transfiguration. They have the ability to do that. So I wouldn't be exactly correct and know how many chromosomes they had. If I'm correct, I remember, I'm sure the master said they had 48 chromosomes. And then we as Nagaru obviously had, sorry, the Adamites had X amount of chromosomes, and obviously we've got, as you know, human beings, 46 chromosomes. But the arrangement of the chromosomes would have been different, slightly different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It'll still make them male, in a sense of what you call it, the figure that they're in, what's I'm looking for, the physiology, okay? You still make them male, but it's the arrangement of chromosomes and the configuration of chromosomes.
Okay. No, it was just interesting reading the scroll, like seeing how Alalu wanted to be the savior. Like, I found the gold, you must put me back in the throne. So there was like a lot coming through. So I was fascinated by that because it's quite similar to what is happening now. Like, me, I am your savior. So like reading that, that was the voice that I kept hearing. So I was like, I wonder if it's because of, you know, the XY chromosome, because their sister was then the voice of reason that came through and sort of like
Yeah.
quiet everyone down and say, let's track the signal and make sure of its origin instead of just fighting and all of that. So yeah, it just made me wonder about the sexes of other beings
Oh
in
yeah,
there,
yeah.
right?
The chromosome arrangement, the X and Y chromosomes exist because there's not just us here on this planet that look like this. We have relatives in other dimensions, in other worlds that we're related to. Do you understand? But it's just the arrangement of chromosomes. But when extraterrestrials incarnate here, they have to take on the formula of this planet so that they can navigate this realm. Because if they came with different chromosomes, it will lead to defects. And that's what took place with the Adamites, because there were so many defects that they were trying to create this, when they were trying to create this creature. And then initially they had to then go to our ancestors, Ptah, who was able to show them how to then be able to insert certain, things together. I won't get into all the, biological details, but they were able to insert certain DNA which can replicate itself, and then be able to then, at its own pace, grow into a human being. But in a sense of arrangement of chromosomes, yes, there are YX, Y, XXY, YXY, it goes on. You can have different arrangements of chromosomes. in the universe, and that's what some of these, like for instance, you had the hermaphrodites, or the what we refer to as the gatekeepers. They have a certain type of arrangement of chromosomes, but they're still feminine or masculine. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. If it doesn't,
does.
seriously, please
Okay.
please ask for clarity, because I can bring up the not the wisdom of Tahuti. It's an I think it's the wisdom of Tahuti.
18 plus 1, 18 plus
Yeah,
1.
18 plus 1, 18 plus 1 breaks it down. Rahubat, greetings. But yeah, there's different, like Saken just said, 18 plus 18 plus 1. I was trying to remember the other one where he comes as a Saru and then as a dragon Zamal. Can you remember that one? Tahuti's Vision. Tahuti's Vision. Yeah, that's the one. In Tahuti's Vision, I don't know if you have that, Linky, but in there he goes and shows you the different chromosomal types. Would you like me to access it so that you can have more clarity?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I may have it. I'll have a look.
Yeah.
And
All right.
then
While we're
anytime I'll ask. Yeah. I was just fascinated by the ego. I think above anything else, like while reading the scroll, like the ego was just.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, if you're dealing with the factions of the Anunnaki, a lot of it was male dominancy and ego. Two brothers who were constantly at each other and didn't respect each other because of hierarchy and positions of power based on birth. One saying that they are pure, another saying that they're not pure, so that they don't deserve the throne, etc. And that has translated into us on the planet, because they've mixed in with us. You see, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know that was very clear, and I think then to say that these are, I don't know, advanced beings, and
But they still have their squabbles. Advanced beings or not, they still have their squabbles. Because you're advanced doesn't mean you ain't gonna have squabbles. You're gonna have a different dynamics of struggles. Because it's like somebody saying, "Oh, I'm gonna move to Europe because Europe's got this beautiful, they got all this. You don't have to pay all your this and that, and then they arrive here and they realize, oh damn, oh we have to. It's just different. Do you know what I mean? You just have to adjust and, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay.
It's a very wonderful example of so above as below and vice versa. Like it just painted a very clear picture of what's happening in sort of like both dimensions. So that was very interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the fact that the father was convinced by his son not to forgive his brother, that was so bizarre. But anyways, like I said, it was a very clear example of why things are the way that they are currently in our planet. It just made everything make so much
clearer.
sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why the beauty of how the master teacher is teaching us is that he's demystifying this concept. There's a God character. He's all loving. Do you know what I mean? He sent one person, his son, and his son then saved the whole world. That's not how it works in the universe. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. Cut the crap. This is how these things are. It's by way of natural nature. And if things become unnatural, there are conflicts and there are repercussions that comes off it. So yeah. And then Atira falls him out. Any other questions? How you doing, my brother?
In regards to like your ancestry and all that stuff, the beings who still have a connection to you that passed on, does your ancestry affect siblings in the same way? Does a certain ancestor have more effect on certain siblings? I.e., I know all of my siblings, we all have a certain temper. I'm pretty sure we get it from our mother. And some of us have lower levels of patience, I suppose. And I think, can that ancestor, if it is an ancestor with the temper and the patience issues, can it affect all of us differently? Because sometimes I see my sister and I see me in her, but I'm pretty sure I just handle it way differently.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's your own character, okay? And like you said, how you deal with it. So your character is, like you said, maybe more fiery, while your sister's character, her nature, is much more calmer. So when those certain situations may arise, she able to deal with it on a mental and emotional level better than you.
So you're saying it's a combination of those ancestries and whoever or whatever it was we were when we decided to go in our mum's womb, combine that together and we now, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But am I correct in saying that there is certainly, obviously we're siblings, but similarities in regards to the way we act, and it could indeed be an ancestor who's just, I saw my sister being really extra, like putting things away. I was like, I was like, I do the same thing. Like,
Right.
As
So you, like you're saying, you've got like a particular ancestor that's more dominant in all of you.
And yeah, well, dominant and also just a slight bit of OCD, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's possible.
And I just see, I just see the traits
But
within
they call it
of
all
us.
these things, but really and truly, are you not just being a perfectionist? And a perfectionist is what? You love being perfect. Because remember, the word perfectionist doesn't mean that you're doing anything to harm anybody. Do you see what I'm saying? Remember what the word ist means at the end of a word. Like if you're a pianist or a celloist, yeah, it means that you're perfecting or something that you like doing. So if you like perfecting, tidying up, you know what I mean? My missus got something like that going on where she tidies up, and when she starts, she don't stop. Like she says, I'd go tidy this room. Then the next thing she's done up and down the whole house. Yeah, she's a perfectionist in that aspect. For me, if I'm doing something like studying, etc., I want to be perfect in what you understand? So there's different aspects and characteristics that we inherit from our relatives, you know, and this is why it shows you that we're all connected. You know, we're not separate from them. You know, they do play a part in our lives, you know, and how they are triggered off is by way of our emotions. Understand? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. All right. Any other questions regarding ancestors and...
I got some stuff written down.
Listen,
so,
bro,
I'm just
this
gonna
is
keep coming back.
what's open. It's a question answer class.
Cool. In regards to self-deletion, yeah. So is it possible for you to self-delete and then go to the moon your soul go to the moon where they're doing the thingy, regenerating the souls to go back to the earth? Is it possible for you to be aware, for you to self-delete and then be aware of the task that your soul has?
So before you can continue, where did you read that from? Where did you get that from? And what do you mean by self-delete?
Suicide.
Okay.
And in regards to, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you pass, your soul travels up and then you are met by some entities, beings, who want to convince you that whatever you've done they're going to make you feel guilty, upset, ashamed or whatever, so that you go back down to live the life again, and so they could keep using your energy and reusing you. But that's a trap, it's a trick to make you go back to this world, whereas you're not supposed to.
Is this what you read in one of our teachings or
Not
something?
in necessarily one of your teachings,
Okay,
but I've heard.
Similar or...
Yeah.
Right. What we teach, and the master teachers convey to us, is that you have a white light, and if you haven't perfected your being, you'll be drawn back to the white light and brought back to this realm.
That's the light that I'm talking about.
The white light, yeah. And then if you have perfected your being and you have soul, then you go through the rainbow colored light, which will take you on to the higher realms and meet with your ancestors who are on a higher level. So there's two entrances, as it were.
And is it as simple as rainbow and white?
No.
Okay.
So when you transition,
Yeah.
what's explained and what is understood is that you, first of all, have what is known as 60 days to 90 days, or 60 to 70 days, I can't remember the exact figure, where you visit your loved ones. So you have the opportunity to say goodbye to them, send a message, etc. Do you know what I'm saying? You're okay, whatever who are close to you, do you know what I mean? They can feel you. Yeah, you can send messages to them or visit them. Then you go into what's known as spiritual orientation, because your relatives who are on that side, they receive you. Imagine like how a doctor, nurses receive you when you're born in this realm. It's likewise on an etheric or spiritual that dimension, you're also received by your relatives, and they meet you and they will guide you to the ways of the spiritual realm, because it's different to here. You understand? So you go through what's called spiritual orientation. You know, you can't look at certain bodies or naked bodies when you're crossing over, stuff, certain things that you shouldn't be able to do, you're not supposed to do. And then from there, depending on if you're strong enough and your spiritual essence is strong enough, you move on to the next realm of gates, because they're actually gates. And these gates open at specific times. And the depiction of that is in a movie called Coco. Yeah, if you've seen that movie, yeah, the master told us to watch it because it gives you the reality of what's actually taking place between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, so yeah, so it's not just I die, I'm going straight up into heaven, or you know, St. Peter's Gate, the Golden Gates. No, it's not like that.
So I haven't watched Coco, but based off what you just said, I was basically just trying to figure out, is there a way to cheat the system? Like, if you're aware of...
Why does everyone want to cheat the system?
Because I suppose as humans, we just love a shortcut sometimes.
Yeah, we do
just
love a
wanna know if it's
shortcut.
there.
We do love
But
a shortcut.
I suppose from what the master teachers, if you're aware of what the master teacher taught, and you know that you're not supposed to go to the white light once you pass over, can you be in a state where I know that white light's over there and I know I'm not supposed to go there? I know I didn't do the work, but let me just try scoot up.
No,
it's not going to work.
Because although what you mentioned about these evil or negative entities, no, you have your relatives and you also have what is known as your recording angels, or like recording ancestors. They're known as seers. One that looks from above and one looks from beneath. So as you are sitting in this room or whatever you're doing, your activities, your thoughts, etc., a being is actually recording this. You understand? And you're also beings recording from the other realm, looking in, watching what you're doing and recording. So even though we think we're alone, we're not. We're actually being watched by our ancestors. So when you get into that realm, they will then, play a nice screen of your activities.
Of everything
exactly,
you've done.
Of everything you've done. And if you haven't raised yourself to a particular level, you got two things that you have to come back. But if you, let's just say, did enough, you were strong enough and you were doing the positive things, but you didn't get to finish because of some traumatic event that happened while you died, you'll be sent back into another one of your relatives to finish off that cycle, to finish off that mission. Do you understand? So you can actually incarnate into and become like a double spirit. So that child can actually see you, do you know what I mean, and interact with you. And that's why some children have got, they call it imaginary friends, because they're actually relatives or ancestors who are living within them to finish off what they're supposed to finish. And they can actually leave once they've done that. I'll give an example what the master said. Say you were the child is born to become this protege dancer, and they can dance and whatever, and then by a certain age they just break their leg. You know what I'm saying? Or they can't perform no more. It's because that ancestor was supposed to do, he just gave it a simple analogy, but the ancestors fulfilled what they've done and they've then moved on. Or they can stay with the child and still help the child and guide the child and give them messages, etc. It depends how strong the connection is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and imagine there's no way to know if you have an ancestor who was also inside you without that strong connection that you just mentioned.
Yeah, you wouldn't know as a child. You just, yeah, exactly. So, it's only if an elder, this is part of why our community and our culture is so important, because when a child is conceived, it's not just conceived out of incest, do you know what I mean, out of wedlock, etc. In our culture, in our pristine culture, two people will come together, and when they sit, they're assessed by an elder. And then they'll also know about the dates and times when a particular child should incarnate. Do you see what I'm saying? So they'll advise you, wait these cycles to have this particular child, because that will breed a particular nature. Do you understand? But now we're doing it out of season, out of nature, and we're breeding children with different mindsates, etc. Because really and truly, if your two partners have the same, what's it called? What's what I'm looking for? Zodiac signs. Yeah, if you have the same zodiac signs, then those zodiac signs, that child should also be that zodiac sign because it replicates. So the child is sound of body and sound of mind. The moment you're out of sync with that, the child is no longer in the right state of mind it's supposed to be in. It's not affected tremendously, but just that by natural nature rules, we're supposed to have sex in season and not out of season. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a spirit, there's a science to sex, and there's a science to the art of sex. You understand? Yeah?
You mentioned something just there about zodiac signs. So, is there actually a truth in regards to? You said when two people come together, an elder will tell them the best time to get a certain child with a certain personality. So, based off that, zodiac signs have to be somewhat real then.
When I use zodiac sign as an example, but what it was the what the Greeks took and became the zodiac signs. If you go to the temple of Hathor, you see this known as the Tantera, what they then translated in the Greek as Dendara. Yeah, but the Tantera, this particular circle, it shows you all the different universal bodies in the form of animals in the sky. So, like for instance, when they talk about the era of Leo, we had one which showed the lion. This is what the Greeks got the era of Leo from. When they showed the era of Aries, it would show a ram or a horned goat. That's where they got all these symbols from, and they called it in their names. So these zodiac or tentara were actually star formations. And those star formations, when they're lined up, a certain energy is shone to the planet, and the planet receives it, and it comes into your DNA. Do you see what I'm saying? And you are synced with that alignment. So on your birthday, for instance, you're supposed to be in a state of peace, meditating, chanting, because that alignment of that star, it shines that energy into your being. You understand? And you become aligned with it.
So on my birthday, I should meditate.
You should meditate, take time out, study, read, etc., and be in alignment with nature, natural nature.
Okay.
Not go into recreation.
This is why I'm confused because not all the calendars in the different countries are the same, and I swear time was just a concept anyway. So
No, that's what I'm saying.
now I'm baffled.
But it's not about the date. It's more about the event. You see what I'm saying? On the day you were born. So it's not necessarily that if it was December or January or whatever, because we know those are Gregorian calendar days, but it's the event. So the event is that you were born on that day, you see what I'm saying, on that time, etc. And that's what it goes by. Not necessarily that it was Tuesday or, you know what I mean, October, etc.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions, any further questions on that? Any questions in the chat, Brother Saken or Zamaltat? Bastat?
No, Zama.
Tautat.
I don't know about Clubhouse, but yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Tunes.
All right. I'm looking on Clubhouse. People, all right, this from Venus E. People say to stop smoking weed, just stop. I have done and tried, but it's so difficult and don't seem to work for me. What can I do? Is there some spirit force around me causing me to smoke? Is it trauma? So Venus E, the teachings is that, I hope you can hear me because I know Clubhouse tends to play up, but essentially you have 30 spirits which are part of your DNA inherited from both sides of your family. And sometimes part of it could be your nature to want to do that, or other times it's also the nature of a relative who's in your DNA, who's in your spiritual matrix, who can influence the way you act, behave, think, etc. And these ones, some of these relatives that have transitioned, because they're linked to you, they can also want to live through you. And living through you this is what has taken place by the sounds of it, what you're saying, why you're finding it difficult, because we know that we have emotions, and this is what most of our relatives, especially ones who are on a negative frequency, they feed off of emotions. So if you are in a state, a mental state where you feel down and depressed, etc., and let's just say you're trying to give up and all of a sudden you had an argument, let's just say, or you came in, had a bad situation come up, then you say, frig it. The first thing you go for is probably a smoke, just what I'm saying, to calm yourself, or that it helps, but not realizing that you're actually giving a life force to a relative. And the more you keep giving that life force to that relative, the stronger they get in your DNA, and the more they're able to influence the things that you do. So they start to climb up. Let's just say they're on ladder number 30, on the step 30. You take another smoke, they're on ladder number 28. You take another smoke, they move up to ladder 19. You take another smoke, they're at ladder number 8, and so on and so forth, and to the point where they overtake you. They work through you, and you, because your mind is linked to their mind, you think you're the one doing it, but it's really them controlling that vehicle, okay, that skin, that suit you're in. So it's what we have been advocating through wu-sabat is, obviously, we've got certain rituals, chants, fasting, meditation, general well-being, mindfulness techniques that you can apply to your life. And the more you do it and the more you're disciplined in doing it, the weaker these hold can be on you. And then they get weaker and weaker, these relatives or these ancestors, to the point where they no longer become a thought in your mind, because you're actually listening to your own mind. So you always have to listen to that inner being, that when you're about to light that cigarette or light that reefer or light whatever you're gonna light or do whatever you're gonna do, that that is a negative thing, is about to hinder your progress. You have to be disciplined enough to find something else to replace it. So that's what wu-sabat teaches. Okay, being able to find something to replace it, or negating it, or find an environment that doesn't allow you to do that. So I hope that answers your question, Venus. Give me a thumbs up, or any further question if you want to probe further. Okay, tap. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm probably going through something similar to Venus as well.
Okay.
So what? Are those ancestors just really, really strong? Or am I just not smart enough to do what it is you said? Like getting out of the environment?
We're all intelligent. Intelligence is not a problem. It's the emotions. Do you know what I mean? When remember what it is. Yeah, we say emotion, don't we? But really it's energy. Energy that is not harnessed and corralled into something else because of the weakness of, you allow your mind to become weak. You understand? And remember, the mind is a playing field. It's a field of energy, and what you plant in it is what grows out of it. Yeah. If you nurture it right, it will grow positive. So it's all about those kind of things. So once you're in an emotional state, remember what happens to you. Your aura changes. You may not see it, but go under an actual machine known as what's it called? Kirlian photography. Yeah, look this up, and you actually see that you have a biofield of energy, and it changes according to your mood. Yeah, and certain beings can see that, and all they need a few seconds to work out your brainwave pattern. So it may not even necessarily be an ancestor that's in your DNA. It also may be an external elemental forces that are also waiting, because as we've been teaching, the Masters taught us that there's the 200 fallen that were not in human form. They're in a gaseous or etheric form, ghost form, and they have multiplied. Yeah, every time they go into, this is shown in a movie, come on Zama, help me here, Fallen. Yeah, watch the movie Fallen. If you haven't seen that movie, Fallen is the best way I can describe what happens, where they can just touch you or move into you because they're gases and your body is porous. Yeah? Okay. So as soon as your emotional state changes, they only need a few seconds to work out your brainwave pattern, and assimilate themselves into you. Cause you to have an argument with your spouse, partner, whoever, father, mother, whoever it is, relative, yeah, and then they move on.
So there's a point where someone may lose their temper and they can feel it coming, and it's at that point where you must have to take a breath through the nose and just exhale, do that deep diaphragmatic breathing.
Go and drink some water.
And yeah, so those spirits just can't get you.
It's not that they can't get you; they're weaker, and the more you keep doing it, the weaker they get. To the point where if you're living the original way of life, your true way of life, and the true embodiment of your being comes out, they can't stay there because the frequency is wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's very, very hard for them, for them to be. You'll be less susceptible to the point where your mind is so strong they can't penetrate.
Yeah, every single time I come to a wu-sabat class, it always comes back to the same thing. Like, you'll be fine if you just get your etheric being up, and you'll do the chants and what's it?
You know, this is not prescribed by individuals as a student teachers. It's prescribed by your ancestors. Your ancestors have prescribed a way. It's like you going, okay, we've got a doctor, yeah? Do you mean Dr. Malachi is a joke? That's our doctor. You know, shouldn't really, try and keep the photos high as possible, not to disrespect. But this particular being, okay, Dr. Malachi, or Yanun, has incarnated. And the reason why he's called a doctor is not because he's a doctor of divinity or doctor. He's a doctor because he's here to cure you. The cure is that we have a mental sickness. All of us have had it, on different levels. And our mental sickness is racial blindness, lack of apathy for ourselves, we don't have love of self. So he's here to cure that. But he knows that the cure can only come by giving you some of the poison. You understand? Because that's, if you know anything about how to cure somebody, you have to give them a little dose of that poison in order to cure that person. And so he took us through those religions because that was part of the poison. But then he slowly unraveled and gave us the elixir of life. Those life-giving forces is that your ancestors have sent him to get you to recognize who you truly are. Because once you do, you're able to then deal with these demons, for the lack of a better word, much better than you are now, to the point where the strength of your mind is impenetrable, and we're all getting there at different stages. We all have our ups and downs because you got to deal with cycles. There's cycles of the planet, the cycle, your own circadian rhythm. If you work late and then you come home, do you know what I mean? Certain things you should do when you come, have a bath, burn sage. There's just certain things that we have to keep doing until it becomes a part of us. And then our answers can work through us much more easier. Yeah? Here's them.
On the same point, do they use fear as a means of getting you unstable, unbalanced?
Who use fear?
The negative beings.
Yeah. That's the Igigi, those beings that have fallen and etc. The fallen angelic beings, etc. Their children, the demigods who are in human form, known as Mukasu or the Adamites. Their whole job is to produce fear, because fear raises your adrenaline. Your adrenaline raises your cortisol level. Your cortisol level breaks down. If it's too high, it breaks down your immune system. Your immune system is broken down, you're susceptible to diseases. Diseases manifest in the mind as well as in the body. So there's all manner of things that's going on that we're constantly being bombarded with. So this is why it's important to learn the language, because the language resonates with your very fiber of your being, and it heals you from the inside out. It connects you with not just the planet and your body, it connects you with the what's it called, the multiverses. Because as you're speaking these tones, remember what sound is. Sound travels and is unlimited, so it constantly keeps traveling. And that sound is being relayed into the universe. There are beings who exist and can hear this, and they know it's like a signature, isn't it? Everyone has a unique signature and a unique pattern. If you have that signature that is connected to your ancestors, who's the best person to be able to help you? It'll be them. But if your signature is not correct, you could try and walk into a bank and sign a signature and try and get £100,000. You get arrested, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? Your signature has to be very well forged, okay, or genuine. You know, and this is what we're saying is there's a signature pattern that's encoded in our DNA, but it's being switched off. So someone has to come along to switch it back on, you know, and then you resonate on that frequency and that vibration so that nature can also look at you and say, these are also my children. I will not harm them. You know, I will bypass them. I'll show them if I'm going to have an earthquake, I'll send them to a space spot so that they, just like ants do when there's going to be if you know about study ants and other creatures, when they know there's going to be, what's it called? I'll use that as a catastrophe happening, it just goes quiet. If you studied about genealogical, you know, things taking place, it goes quiet and these animals will move. And that's what we have the ability to do if we're in tune with nature. We will also move in accordance with nature, but we're out of sync, you know? Yeah. Okay, so I hope that answers that question, Zaman. Yeah. Any more questions on anything at all? Yes, my brother. Oh, hold on, got a question. Oh, okay. What else I can say? The brother handed that hand up, then you, and then Zamalta, yeah? Oh, okay, okay. Okay, Rita, after this question then, and then we'll go to Rita.
Can the person preparing my food put a negative frequency on it? Like, I know if you cook food with love, I know you can cook food from love and then make the food taste better. I swear, it's real, it's real.
It's real.
Trust me.
Plus also your aura actually goes over the food. So it tastes like your own.
I was gonna say, can the opposite be a thing where someone who may not like me puts a negative aura on my food and now...
It's all about energy. It's all about energy. Even if you are cooking, but you're not in the right state of mind, it can be tasted in the food. So imagine if somebody who doesn't like you wants to make your food taste horrible or upset your stomach.
And it's deeper than just simply putting too much salt in it. They could literally just, I can't stand this person as they're kneading the dough.
It's an electrical field. Everything's electrical. Everything's energy. It's a biofield around you. So as you're doing it, it's literally leaching into the food and becomes part of the particles of the food. That's what I'm saying. It's like we've missed so much in our culture or in our way of life of what our spiritual teachings and knowledge is about, that we just have taken a lot of things for granted on a superficial level. But we as beings knew about energy, and we knew how energy affected us, you see? But yeah.
And how to... So, and I'd imagine in regards to giving my food more of a positive frequency, I literally just have to have my positive aura up and create the food knowing that this food is going to nourish me, it's going to give me the proper vitamins and nutrients, and it's just going to make my whole physical body better, this vessel. What did I say?
You just made an affirmation and communicated with natural nature in your food. That's what it's about. When you're about to eat, yeah, and you say what they call a blessing, you with me? You're sending a positive energy and an auric field around your food. That changes it. In the book Pa Yafak, the breath, the master shows us a technique where you can actually charge water. So if you hold, you bring an auric field around the water, hold it in your left hand, and imagine sprinkling with an auric field of energy. You can actually change the polarity of the water to actually be more positive for you to drink. And it's shown in a science that a particular Japanese scientist showed about water, how water has memory. So when you shout energy, anger at it, or you play music through it, which is of a highest natural frequency, the water will actually die, and it will actually show you bacteria that's growing. It gets darker, and if you put positive energy in that water, the molecular structure changes and becomes more purer. This is a science. You understand? So yeah, it can affect you, and you can put oil food around your water or food.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're most welcome. That's what we're here to do. You know, shed that information. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Rita, your question. Rahubat is.
Yes, Rahubat.
Rahubat.
So when you mentioned the Adamites and what their position is to create fear, because they feed off of the fear. You know, when we're watching the movies that have been suggested, or watching horror movies or anything like that, are we supporting the system as it is when we do that? Especially if, we're looking at these movies, and some for informational purposes, but they invoke fear. Is that also upholding the system as it is?
Okay, so when you say as suggested, are you referring to when the partner Babyanon says watch this particular film? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, well, not only that, because I have been watching the films, and I've been looking at them as like an observer and gaining information. But I think, like in the Hollywood movies and things like that, and some of these Netflix series or whatnot, they, ones that invoke fear. I mean, it's very much part of the Six Ether being, agenda, right?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Oh, I've just lost connection. Can I be heard? It just lost connection with me. I don't think it's my Wi-Fi. I think it's. I've just lost connection. Yeah, Zamalta, just giving. Can you hear? Can I be heard? Yeah, I'm just connecting. It's trying to reconnect. I've just lost connection. Okay, let me just, can I see if this is working? Alright. Let's give me about 2 laptops, sorry. Right. Right. Okay,
This meeting is being recorded.
I'm back. Roll back. Yeah, we just done a switcheroo with the laptops, but now it's come back on the other. Okay. Right. So, 1 second. Let me just mute the. Right. Not done for that. Can I be heard?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yes, the Adamites, what they've managed to do is through remember what the word fear, first and foremost, that if you look at it as an acronym, okay, you know what the acronym is, isn't it? False evidence,
yes.
Appearing real, yeah. What they've managed to do by way of these fallen angelic beings and their offspring, known as the Adamites, these demigods, etc. They've created a fear and instilled in us while we were children. You see what I'm saying? So it's ingrained in us as children to have fear. And that fear then produces, like we were talking about, certain hormones. It also produces in our mind's eye certain images, etc. So yes, it's a concentrated effort to destroy the mind by putting these things there, and also then relying on somebody else to put all your trust in. So this is why they gave us religion, so that you got your God concept who breeds a form of fear into you, because if you don't do good, you're going to hell. If you do good, you're going to heaven. Do you know what I mean? But this is all inbred in us, and the condition of that by our parents as well, has also produced this fear where we no longer look for ourselves as divine. We no longer look for ourselves as being the ones that are actually making things happen. We always give our gratitude to an external force. So yeah, but definitely the Adamites, what they managed to do is weave this spell into our mind, and that's become a part of us now. So we fear things when really and truly the divinity inside you has no fear. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it has no fear, it has no boundaries. And this what when you look at children, we actually saw this today. We were laughing because a child was walking, and the child was literally walking towards the our we were out propagating, and the child literally walked in between us to get to his destination. But the mother pulled him aside and said, "Don't walk through these men." But what we saw there, we saw that the child had no fear. He didn't care who it was or where he was going. He needed to get to his destination. You with me? And that's what it hits. So we see fear, things that children do where they're fearless, especially at a particular age. But once they reach the age of imagination, that's when their thoughts and their beliefs and their ideologies and all of these things, it starts to shape them and shape their reality. And from that on, what anyone here who hasn't studied epigenetics needs to do is study the role epigenetics plays. Because in studying that, you begin to realize why there's trauma in our race, why there's trauma in the human race, why there's people don't do what they do because they've been affected for 400 years or 4 generations. And these scientists or Adamite descendants of these, fallen angelic beings, they know that in the 4th generation, things change, for the better or for the worse. And for us, it's happened over a 400 years period where we no longer, as you already know, we no longer loving self and kind. We're no longer brave enough to embrace our culture. We feel if we speak our own language, we're looked upon like, or we may think, you feel like it's you have to force yourself, or you think you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? From embracing your own culture. And that shouldn't be the case because you see all other races do it. I was on a train today, and these Asian women was like, having a beautiful conversation in their own language, didn't bat an eyelid, didn't feel any complexities or any uncomfortableness. But the moment we dress up in our culture and our garb, it's like there's this taboo. Do you know what I mean? To not want to express our culture, which is very, very strange because of the conditioning that's happened to us. So we have to embrace our culture, spread our culture. Wu-sabat's here now is replacing all the cultures that we see. You know what I mean? That whether you're from Ghana, whether you're from Sierra Leone, whether you're from Zimbabwe or Botswana or anything like that, know that we had an original culture that predates all of those cultures. You see, and even though you still live your cultural identity from whatever part of the world you come from, know that wu-sabat is here to encapsulate all of that. You see what I'm saying? So that you can live it to the richness of your ability, because we are deities, and deities have no fear. That's something that the master is trying to get across to us as well, that we're not just mere men and women, mortal beings. You know what I mean? Remember, we created this universe. That's how we need to start thinking. We are the mothers and fathers that created this universe, this realm. And then what happened was we trapped ourselves in it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. And it's very empowering just understanding that and being reminded of it. And, reading these books, I've been very touched by it, where I had literally cried at, at some of the things I've heard, because I felt it so deeply and it resonated, unlike any history class I've ever taken in my life. So I totally understand that. I just, I wonder, in doing our part in, helping to, and I know this is the time where the patriarchal system is diminishing and being erased. But, you know, in this time, in real time, again, you know, that's why I was asking, and we were cut off at this point, when I was asking about the movies and the things that we view and the things that we hear. If it's low vibration, or if it's horror movies or things like that. Those things, by us being energetic beings, we kind of, to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like we support the system by viewing it.
No, you're 100% right. We do support the system. There's a caveat to that, because obviously, like I said, the master teacher has given us guidance. He only gives us guidance to watch these movies because we can't, not all of us accept what he's teaching. The information he's teaching about spiritual forces, DNA, extraterrestrial beings that can walk in you, etc. The way the Mukasu, the Adamite, teaches it is through his movies. So he's trying to kind of like show you. See, he's literally showing you, eyes wide shut. Yeah, he's showing you. This is what's happening, but I have to show you because you won't take it from me. Not you per se, but you're not gonna accept it from me. You're gonna accept it from the Adamite, but you're gonna accept it in his Hollywood mentality, not as a reality. So most of us, unless we're able to discern the reality and the truth behind it and what is actually being conveyed, we just see it as a movie. You see what I'm saying? But that movie, it moves you. So what does it move you? Look, listen to the words that he uses. Movie moves you from your natural state to your unnatural state, or to an unnatural state. And that unnatural state is his 6 demonic forces. So you start slowly, gradually becoming like him. You see what I'm saying? And this is being done on a systematic basis. But because we're not susceptible or aware, many of us, to his crafty work, do you know what I mean? That we don't see what's happening to us until it takes someone from the outside looking in who has to incarnate and say this, and this. Do you know what I mean? And there's another movie actually, which we go on to these movies, but They Live. If no one's seen They Live,
That's
if nobody has seen They Live, go and watch They Live. Okay, because there's a scene in there where it is a replica. It represents what we are trying to do to actually awaken our brothers and sisters and humanity to the reality of these extraterrestrials, etc. He's trying to get him to, you watch it and you start to see, oh my goodness, how difficult is it? Do you know what I mean? All right.
Yeah, I've been watching many of them and they've been very helpful. My one last question is, the Adamite, are they all the individuals who are holding positions of quote unquote power? And because I have seen, and I was wondering about this, when I think of Adamites, I think of, 6 ether beings, but it seems that there are 9 ether beings who are acting just like the 6 ether beings. They're not considered Adamites.
That's right.
But are they just, what are they gaining?
No, what you have to realize is...
Like, what are the What's that?
No, what you got to realize is that the children of Cain are also of dark skin, hue, and woolly hair. Do you see what I'm saying? And they have also mixed in with the Adamites. So you have black devils who operate on 6 ether. And you also have people who have been converted into 6 ether, by way of just being around them, mixing with them, enjoying them, living with them, etc. So their frequency has also changed. So you have a combination of that going on, and then you have the 400 years of being an African who's been slowly changing to become a Negro. So that Negro mentality of don't do for self, live in this system enjoy the world, etc. You have that going on at play, you know. And then in between all of that, you got them giving us record contracts and all of these and movie star contracts, because you know it's after the George Lloyd? Or
Floyd.
Lloyd. When he transitioned, all of a sudden there was a spate of movies showing all black stars and black actors were getting parts and all of that. I mean, I saw it, I don't know if many other people saw it, but also we had a raft of positions of movies that we were in. Do you know what I mean? It's only because they felt guilty. They felt guilty and they knew, but that was a way, because they knew that was a trigger for us to start getting conscious and regaining our consciousness. Anytime there's a slight little trigger or tremor or glitch in the matrix, they have to patch it up. They have to make it again back to how we are. It happened in the 60s when we started growing our hair and we started going into African, you know, wearing African clothing, etc. Then they brought in wave, was it S-curl, you know, wave, you know what I mean, Jerry curl. You know, you can look good when you have straight hair, you know, and all of that. And it showed you movies like coming to Africa, coming from America, coming to America. All of these different movies to make us shift us again from the frequency of who we are.
Yes, I understand that. I used to see, well, after 2020, I started seeing tons of commercials with non-ether beings. And I was like, wow, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Adamites are, let's see, Adamites are just a specific group holding power. So not all 6 ether beings are deviant.
That's right, that's right, yeah.
Okay.
However, they because it's been so much of a mixture, they have got that mentality. Do you see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Unbeknown to them, but they've now been influenced and controlled by that mentality. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Powatac.
And
Thank you.
Any questions? Don't just hold back.
Jamal, I just wanted to, if I may,
Yeah.
just add one little bit to what you've answered for Rita, which is the whole cloning industry as well that is taking place at the moment, where, and they wear, you know, there people are wearing masks and things that look like they're Gagarin, and then lots of Gagarin that are clones that are utilized for their agenda as well. So,
That's like the Manchurian Candidate.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Yes, thank you, Sikan.
You're welcome.
And they cloned Tyrone.
Yes, that movie they cloned Tyrone. There's so many raft of movies that they just want to, again, showing what they're capable of, but they're banking on us being asleep. And there's still the majority of us asleep out there. When we're out there, you know, propagating our brothers and sisters and the rest of humanity, other species or races, they ain't got a clue. They really don't have a clue what's going on, you know.
Jamal,
Okay, I've got Zamal Basta. She did have a question.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know that I'm not going to answer the rest of it.
No, of course not. Tell her. I'm gonna check the chat and then and jump to the questions.
There's about 3 left.
I'll help you, Zamal.
Alright.
So my question was like back on the back of what Rita was saying was that another part of what the master teacher had to bring was us working for, of, and by each other, right? Or is it
Very, very important. Very, very important. If you study great societies, especially great African societies, and all of them was working for each other, for and of by each other. There wasn't a thing where this individual mentality existed, and I grew up, you know, seeing that. That's the thing. I grew up seeing that from back home, from where I'm from, you know, amongst my own immediate family and around me. So sometimes it's very easy for those who have seen it around them and experienced it to make that natural transition and embrace it. And then there's those who also feel it in them, you know, as Rita said, that they just felt this was right. You know, they need to jump, you know, get on the bandwagon and help out and assist in who they really are. So there's so many pockets of us that still are disconnected from who we really are, and that's why wu-sabat's here, and that's our job as the next 24,000 year cycle, is we are the next prophets of our side. That's the master just explained that. You know, where the next people come and, you know, wake up and show that unity and working for and of by each other.
Yeah, too, because you know what? I was envisioning, like, if once that happens, the support in relation to, for example, what the Sahel region are doing in terms of, you know, development and working for the people of their countries. Once that comes, if we in the diaspora are doing the same, how impactful that would be in terms of the power that bees that are trying to do the opposite.
Yeah, it's boy, that'd be so
power. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, it is definitely, because everything resonates. Do you with me? So what the master partner Babianan explained is that Africa anyway, because of the shift in polarity, the poles have shifted. So that 23-degree axis has actually shifted to the continent of Africa. It's moving away from Saudi Arabia, and it's now actually shifting to the center. If you go into the precession change, he actually breaks that down in there, that Africa is going to naturally, there's going to be those on the African continent and those in the diaspora who are going to just start naturally feeling, this is it now. We've had enough. There's going to be awakening, and it's going to get stronger and stronger in the atmosphere. So because it's the time for Night Ether to come into power again, you know, and it's happening. I mean, now we've got the platform OSM, we've got brothers and sisters from this place, Botswana, Zambia, Ghana, do you know what I mean, Zimbabwe. Everybody's now beginning to just awaken. If you go on, you know, the YouTube platform, there's this person talking about this spirituality, this person talking about African connection, ancestors. It can't be stopped, because the thing is that 6 ether forces, their time has expired. You hear me? Part of that is also that the actual race and their species is dying out. You can go and again do your research that the birth rate, okay, is measured by the amount of children you have. So if you below I think it's 2.1 children, I don't know how to do out the ratios, but there's a ratio of 2.1. If that 2.1 dips below that, you start seeing that they're actually going to start dying out as a race. So places like Italy, go and look at Italy, the number of birth rates has dropped. Go and look at places like Germany, it's parts of Europe, their birth rates have dropped. You know, so they can no longer consistently produce children anymore. You know, it's incapable, it's happening. So in the next 4 generations to come, the Adamite race, the Mukasu race, they will eventually become extinct by natural nature, not by us or by disease or anything like that, even though that's already happening, but just by natural nature's rules. There's something that was designed in the Adamites, particularly the Adamites, but it's also now being, you know, transferred onto other species or other races on the planet. There was a genetic clock that after 6,000 years, their cycle of life will have ceased to expire. And that's taking place from the year 2000 onwards. So you're going to see the demise and what's going to start taking place. People who even think that they are Caucasian and have dark hair and dark eyes, they're actually Dravidians. They're not Caucasians. And those who are darker skin or dark freckles, or everybody is going to start transitioning back into the original root races that were on the planet. So those Dravidians are going to eventually fade out, and there'll only be the Nagaru race that will be on the planet as before. So it's a general natural transition that's taking place. I haven't even mentioned the diseases that has been plaguing this planet. Number one case being COVID. Do you know what I mean? As an example where that was designed by extraterrestrials to remove the Adamites from this planet. So if anyone didn't know that, that's what it was. COVID is not just something that was designed by scientists. It was influenced by extraterrestrials, designed to remove Adamites from this planet. So yeah, that's just a little thing there in case you weren't aware. Yes, Jose, you have a question.
Rahubat Misa.
Rahubat, Jose.
Rahubat Amal. I have a 3-part question regarding unity.
Okay.
I've been looking at this topic in the past weeks, and I would like to know what is the vision of the culture. Starting from United Sapiens implies that all Nagaros are the same and must be united, is the first part of the question. And how is that unity envisioned by the wu-sabat culture? Especially, I'm asking this, especially considering that each of the 54 countries in the continent in Africa have many tribes with different languages, cultures. So is the unity the final goal, or it's more like like Europe, the Caucasians, because they don't call each other brothers. The Germans don't call the French brothers, and here we are kind of the same situations because our countries were divided, and different tribes were placed in the same place, but we're still not united as countries per se, right? The belief of nationality. So intrinsically, among ourselves, we are still different because we have different cultures, different languages, and different tribes. So how the
we need to look before, yeah, because the first one is you said about the how is wu-sabat is what we're doing to bring about the unity is love of self and kind and doing for self. You with me? It really is about that, and being able to reach as many people as we're doing now with this information. And then it's up to those in those countries, specific countries, to start little communities, because everything starts small. Do you know what I mean? It never starts massively. You know what I mean? It always starts small, and then as you live that culture, as you live that way of life and show the benefits of that culture, I'm going to put a thing in here now and say it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. You're going to meet resistance. You're going to meet hatred. You're going to meet all kinds of stuff, especially from our own African brothers and sisters. Okay? But the perseverance has to be there. It means what we do over here is on a Saturday. Those who are strong and know what wu-sabat for the future holds for us and want to make the difference, get up, just what I'm saying, and do something about it. Whether it's on OSM, whether it's propagating, whether meeting another brother or sister on the street or at home, in their homes, etc. Yeah, living your culture, because your culture ultimately represents who you are. Your attire, your headgear, your mannerisms, your language represents who you are. But if you do it half step, if you do it unconvincingly, you're not really convinced, but you're just doing it because other people, you're following the crowd, then it's not really heartfelt. You with me? So it's not it's not about blame, it's not about guilt, it's not about saying that we're better. We're saying that when we do this, yeah, as a motivating factor for others, one of the things it does is it brings the unity automatically, and two, it also brings the protection. What we have to start realizing, when we start to live on a certain frequency, these beings that we refer to as our ancestors, Panataru, our overseers, our guardians, there's a protection over us. And this is what's important, is that once we live a culture that's connected to them, they have the protection and the guidance to lead us to the next thing. They've sent a warner. yeah, to show us these ways. We have to listen, drop our egos, drop our I think I know better, he's gone wrong, I don't like this person because of the way he makes me feel. We need to work on dropping all of those things and work on what is the best for us, for our children. The Master Teacher always said it, is for the future of our children, because your children are going to be your salvation. Yeah, so if we don't get it right, then we will be susceptible to the next Adamite invasion that's going to take place. And if you think it's worse now, I don't want to see how it's going to be for our children or us. You with me? So you have to be dedicated in what you subscribe to and work towards every vision that you wake up saying to yourself is, I want prosperity. I want prosperity for myself, my children, my future, my culture, etc. Prosperity. And keep that as a mantra. This is what personally I do. You with me? I can't speak for brothers and sisters, but I'm pretty sure if you're on the same wavelength frequency, you'll be thinking prosperity for, your send energy to your friends, your family, your loved ones, your brothers and sisters. This is our way. This is our way. We need to start remembering it's not the way of the Mukasu or the Adamite. Our way is unity, strength, and love. That's our way. You understand? Our shuk. So we need to just always have that mantra in our minds. Wake up saying those patakyu, those affirmations in our minds or outwardly. Project it. It's a force, it's an energy. Sound manifest reality. We know this. Yeah? But we have to do it in our spirit, connected to our ancestors. And they will do the rest. Yeah? So, as I said, it's not going to be easy. And those countries that have so many different culture diversity in Africa, it's not going to be easy. But we have to start somewhere, and we have to start small communities, come together, invite people, talk to them, see what they feel, and then eventually it grows and grows and grows. Just like it happened in Bushwick. When you go to study the history of where we started from, in Bushwick Avenue, it was a small community. Then that small community bought a building next door. That building next door, they made enough money, bought the building next door. Yeah? Just how if you look at Asians, and that's what they do. Do you know what I mean? They make that money, yeah, and then they push it. So that's what we need to do. That concept and that brings up business formula doesn't really change for any race.
Much.
You know what I mean? It's just that we need to apply it and stop being afraid. We talk about fear today. Do you know what I mean? Stop being afraid that success is there for us. Yes, we're going to have trips and hurdles. We have to start learning to trust each other.
And to persevere.
You know what I mean? I'm your brother. When I walk into this room, I don't see, he's from this place, he's from that place, etc. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Actually, I understand where you're coming from. We have conversations, and I'm glad always to hear your vision when it comes to all your teachings, when it comes to what the actual facts.
Sure.
And I'm looking on the study case of other cultures that were also colonized worldwide. The Koreans were colonized.
Exactly.
Singaporeans were colonized. The Malaysians were colonized. But all of these different cultures, they rebuild themselves in less than 25 years.
Exactly.
And when it comes to ourselves, we are struggling to go back to what we were used to be before the colonization, because I understand this sense of victimization on ourselves, because I would say that not everything about colonization was bad, because we didn't have roads, we didn't have buildings, we didn't have a lot of things here in Africa prior to colonization. And when I look back, according with the current structure, and that's why I need your guidance on this, on our current structure with so many tribes that we have, did we actually have some moments in our continent on which we were united, or we had the same culture as a whole.
Sure.
Because something happened to us. Yes,
Yeah.
something happened to us.
We did.
Why we have so many languages, so many tribes?
Because you're dealing with.
It's like if we had.
Yeah, you're dealing with. Remember,
5,000 countries.
Yeah, our story doesn't begin 6,000 years ago. First and foremost, yeah, our story started millions of years ago, and you had intersections of many different beings known as extraterrestrials, quote unquote, that have visited this planet, and they have seeded and mixed in with many tribes on this planet. You see what I'm saying? So the similarity is in some of our cultures, because you could even go to certain places in Guyana, or I'm here in Ghana, or in Jamaica, and there's very similar similarities in what we do. You see what I'm saying? And it's those similarities that we need to pick up on and realize that, hold on a second, we are the same people. We eat similar foods, you see what I'm saying? We have similar mannerisms, etc. Once you're able to first identify that, then you can start dealing with, well, I believe in the Kosa deity, or the Senegalese deity, etc. And when you start to dissect it, you start to realize that deity is actually that particular being that was here. But it's just that we have called them different names in different cultures because we try to understand them. So we gave them various titles. But it's actually going back to the same beings. So Panatharu, for instance, would be called a particular name in a particular culture. So you have to identify the similarities in that culture and link it back to ancient Tamaray. You understand? You know, and this is what the master teacher has been able to do, showing you that, for instance, like the culture I'm from, Ghana, we talk about the Nananum. I know that the Nananum are these deities, you see what I'm saying, of ancient times. But in culture-wise, we call them Nananum, yeah? So it's just terminologies that we've used to describe the same beings. And once you're able to break that barrier, we can start realizing that we are actually the one race of evil. We're actually one being. But what happened was, through the different cycles, we got separated into different species. So we become 9 species of Nagaru, but really we're actually one being. And yeah, it's not going to be easy. It is a journey. It is a journey. But we've got a being that's showing us the way.
Zamal, could I add something, please?
Samantha.
Okay, because Zamal Jose, if I heard correctly, said some good things came about through colonization, which I would beg to differ. And he mentioned roads, but I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I went to a Robin Walker event. You would not believe the height of civilizations across the continent, in different tribes, in different places, that are not at the forefront of history, that were disrupted through colonization, that they don't talk about. There's a wall across Benin that is longer than the Great Wall of China. There's so many things that we're not aware about. So I would disagree that colonization brought about anything positive. It actually disrupted the natural flow of our civilization, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's a very fine point you made, Zamata. Yes, very fine point you made. It's just that they were going to some Jose gone. We weren't going to get into back and forth, but points are being accepted, and everyone's got a valid point.
Correct. Just to wrap it up from what you presented, and Amanda, Zamal Tact, Amanda, appreciate love your comment, and I guess we can even talk further on an appropriate forum. Is in short, we are failing for the examples that we have from other cultures that were colonized and have successfully gotten back and restructured themselves in 20, 25 years, for ourselves as Nagaru, we are failing to go back to what we used to be because of the extraterrestrial interference, correct?
Well, I would say that I wouldn't use the word failing, because we're beginning to slowly recognize that now. Just what I'm saying. So it may look like on the surface that we are, but we have a deep-rooted spiritual connection to nature. And it's about finding that, and obviously through wu-sabat you begin to recognize that there's that deep-rooted spiritual connection we have with our ancestors and with natural nature. And once we're able to tap into that, that's when things will start to flow in the right way for us. Okay, but yeah, appreciate love for the questions. Any other questions on that before we move on?
Sure,
Zamal, definitely.
Sure.
Definitely. We have 26 minutes, Moishar. Have your cups been overflowing, or you want more information? Please, this was set up for this purpose. Yes, my brother.
Hi,
Do you want to take the mic? Just because we're recording.
Oh,
yeah. So you can be heard. Thank you.
Remember the questions in the chat.
Tua. Samantha, could you read after this question, the brother, and then could you read the other questions, please? Tawata. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And sorry for being late. I live very far.
No, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, thank you. I heard you saying everybody has a mental problem. So is that like a spiritual problem or mental scientifically? Then you had said something to deal with poisoning.
Okay.
When you pointed the gentleman,
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
so I just wanted to.
Do you know who this gentleman is, or this?
No, I'm actually very new. I'm still learning.
Okay.
So I'm like a toddler in this.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
I'm a Christian, but I feel like I need to be awakened.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you could kindly explain it bit by bit.
I will do my best in a short space of time.
Yeah. Cheers.
But what I would strongly urge, if because you're on this path, is to probably start listening more into classes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is our supreme being.
Right.
Okay. A supreme being to us as Africans was not devoid of seeing and knowing who and what they are. It wasn't cut off where this unseen being is somewhere else and we're not connected to them in any shape or form. We knew our supreme beings, and they were an embodiment of truth. Okay? So a supreme being would incarnate in our culture every 24,000 years. Yeah? There'll be an incarnation. And what this supreme being does is, when they come, they resurrect mentally. That's why I said there's a mental poison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our minds have been poisoned. We're no longer in connection with who we are anymore. So this being, that's why I refer to him as a doctor. Yeah. He's here to cure us of the diseases, mental diseases and physical diseases that has happened to us over a period of 6,000 years or more.
You mean like colonization?
Colonization.
Oh, so just not like a...
Yeah.
Like a mental...
Yeah, mental, yeah. Colonization is like one of the big things, yeah.
Ah.
See what I'm saying? That's one of the things.
Right.
Slavery, and even before then. Do you know what I mean? Because there's an actual spell that was placed on us, in our minds and in our hearts, where we no longer look at self and kind as being brothers and sisters. You know, we think we're separate from each other. Yeah, and he's here to show us that we're not separate from each other. We're all connected to one supreme ancestral source. You see, and those ancestral forces or source, they can only help us if we acknowledge them. If we turn our backs to all and give them back all the things that we've been, like you said, the colonized mind has accepted. You know, the Jesus, the Santa Claus, the Christmas, the this, the that. Reject it all, because that's not you. And what we don't understand is that everything that we accept gives them power. Do you see what I'm saying? And when it gives them power, what happens with power? You get controlled, you get ruled. So Our job and the master teacher's job is to teach his students, and we are all his students. Once you accept what the teachings is about, we are all the students of Prana Babyanum, because now we've embraced the truth. And that's just not truth as in a religious concept of truth. I'm talking about actual facts, which brings proof. You with me? So I can prove that 2.3 million years ago, beings walked the planet, and they found the bones that walked the planet. Falsehood tells you that Adam and Eve were the first people on the planet. That's misinformation, that's a lie. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So he's now uncluttered your mind from the untruth to the reality of what actually happened, that has happened on this planet. Yeah? And that goes with names, that goes with colors, that goes with your genetics, that goes with so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah? And bit by bit, he will release you from the binds of your mind so that you can be closer in connection with nature and your ancestors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what the master teacher is here to do.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that answer?
Yeah, it answers the question. I had maybe a different idea of.
Oh, okay. I hope that, yeah,
like
I'm glad
mental,
that's clear.
yeah.
And now I've got a question. Was it? Did you have a question?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, no, got a question in the chat. Samantha, could you bring up a question in the chat?
Do I? Can't really understand it, but I'll read it as it's written. It's dismount our ancestors, leave their organs behind, so we can put them back together.
Okay, so you're talking about reanimation and incarnation. Yes, our ancestors. One of the reasons for mummification of the pharaohs, the Afertes that walked the planet, okay, and other supreme beings that were here, is because a cell has life, and the ancestors, when they return, they can actually reanimate these beings so that they can again live amongst us. So that was the reason why for the mummification rituals. So yeah, if that's what it's alluding to, then that's what took place, okay, regarding them.
And next question, Seket Ra, in the Holy Tablets, page 9, verse 82, when it says, this solar system becoming a tri-solar, are we grooming ourselves now to transform to another system?
That's exactly right. The Earth is going through what is called a dimensional shift. So the dimensional shift is that universes are like bubbles. Okay, and if you look at you have a bubble bath, for instance, you see different bubbles that are connected to each other. That's like how a universe is connected. And what happens is sometimes universes can actually cross and mesh amongst each other. So what's taking place is, as the transition is happening, as the universe and the galaxies are spiraling in their own cycles, we're also going to start merging and moving into a higher dimensional realm. And with that higher dimensional realm, your body, your mind, and your soul has to be attuned to that realm in order to make the dimensional shift. And what's taking place is that a lot of people on the planet, because they're not aware of this, some of them will not make the dimensional shift because it's all about tones, vibration, and frequencies. So you have to be in alignment with these particular tones, hence why the Master Teacher has given us these tools, our language, our the chants that we do, the rituals that we do, the fasting that we do, the holidays and the cultures that we celebrate. Is all of this is tuning us in and is transforming us, so that when we make that, as we're making the transition into the higher dimensions, our bodies, our minds, our energies can be synced with that other dimension. And what you can look at it in the movie, the Philadelphia Experiment, as an example, where he explains in The Man from Planet Risk, where he explains that, if you haven't got that scroll, try and attain that scroll. He explains about the Earth has a biorhythm. Your body also has a circadian biorhythm. But what took place in this Philadelphia Experiment is that they didn't have the instruments capable of actually measuring the biorhythm of these two beings, the earth and the human body. So because it wasn't calibrated, what took place is that when they turned on the energy field to make the craft of the ship, there's a craft that was made to become, I think, teleportation. The actual thing didn't work because it was sabotaged, and they didn't have the right calibration for the soul, the spirit, and the human body. And because of something called zero time reference, every time a child is born or a person is born, they have a cycle, that's what is called a zero time reference, where your time begins and in this realm. And that zero time reference is synced into the DNA, the very matrix of this planet, because the planet is over 24,000 degree circumference, which is linked to your 24,000 genomes. That's another thing many people are not aware of. So all of these things had to be considered before turning on this massive energy field to do the transportation. Anyway, it occurred, and what happened was is that because the cycle and the circadian and the biorhythm of the planet was out of sync, some of the people who were on the ship, they got fused with other parts of the ship. Some people who had emotional attachments started to fade in and out and disappear and go back into another realm. And what took place is that the actual ship, instead of teleporting to a nearby base, it teleported itself into 40 years into 1983. That's what, that many people don't know this. It's called the Philadelphia experiment. Yeah, you can actually go and research this and do a study on it. Yeah, it's actually made into a movie as well. And the Philadelphia experiment,
What's the movie?
Philadelphia experiment.
Oh, so
Yeah, it's actually called that, believe it or not. Yeah.
they named it the same thing as the movie. Yeah,
exactly.
Fair enough.
So that became, the spin-off of that became your Montauk project and other things that came off of that as well. So the Philadelphia experiment, it jumped ship and it landed in 1983. So they actually created a space in time where beings could come in and out, etc. But yeah, essentially that's what was taking place, where because our bodies are not synced, or if your bodies is not synced with the dimensional shift that's taking place with the planet, people will start to fade away, in the sense of that your cycles of being able to survive is cut down. You'll start getting certain things happening to you where you won't be able to make that transition. You see what I'm saying? Whether it's a short term where you end up losing your life, you with me, because you're not in tune with the planet shift, or you might go mentally, unstable, etc. These things will start to happen more and more to people. If you don't believe me, like I said, we propagate, we see what's taking place with the dimensional shift. Okay, people just not in tune with things, or having mental breakdowns, etc. This is all part of the dimensional shift taking place. Okay, so I hope that answers the question on that. Next question, Marta.
Our Adamite ancestors, the Palladians, they're in charge of them. Every being are extraterrestrial.
Does that sound like more of a statement, isn't it? Yeah, they have, every extraterrestrial have their children on this planet. So our ancestors are Panatharu and Parmarazaku. So the Parmarazaku are known as the Riskians. They're more in an etheric form, but they can take on body. Panatharu are the ones that reside in Orion and Sirius star systems. So that's where your original home is, in the Orion and Sirius star system. And this is a system that also moves in and out, as with galaxies. Galaxies blend in and out. It meshes in with the 19th galaxy. And the actual pyramid of Khafre, when you go into ancient Egypt, the three pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, the Khafre pyramid actually is the gateway to the Sirius star system. So that was how our ancestors knew where they came from. Okay. Go ahead.
Also, wasn't Adam more intelligent than the angels before he came down to earth?
No, he wasn't, and came down to earth from where. I think it's going to a bit more elaboration on that. But Adam was, his DNA was prepared. That's why they say, if you're going from a religious aspect of the Quran, they say that Adam was made in the heavens. That's talking about these extraterrestrials. They took the DNA from this planet and took it to a laboratory in Mars known as Shimti. Okay, these were laboratories that were set up on Mars and the planet Earth. And they did the experiment where they infused in them their divine life force. And then Adam was brought to this planet, and the DNA was then put into, okay, his father, which was, what's his name again? I forgot the father's name.
Whose father?
Adam's, Zakar. Oh gosh, what's the name? Anaf and Atum. Tawata. Yeah, so his father Atum. So it was a genetic experiment that took place, but his actually DNA was created, as they say, in the heavens. But it's really referring to, or should I say, Adam? They say Adam was created in the heavens, but it's really referring to his DNA was prepared, and then the life force was placed in there and then brought to this planet. But that's like going into a whole, and I have to kind of link it up, and we don't have enough time to show you the connection. But essentially, that's what took place.